I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about if you and your ex trigger each other. So there's a good chance that you were with a partner that was triggering you in different ways. This is a natural occurrence that happens in our relationships because we all tend to attach differently. Now, there are secure people that got so much love and affection, and parents that were so emotionally attuned and that were able to soothe those babies that we wind up to be really healthy, secure adults. Unfortunately, many of us grew up in homes with parents that were neglectful, maybe emotionally unavailable, maybe they were struggling with their own mental health issues, addiction, or even just had to work all the time. So all of those things have a major impact on us. And when we grow up and we start to date, we have areas that we struggle. We have areas that we're particularly sensitive. We may be neglectful in certain areas because of our blueprint of love that we learned from our early childhood. Now, it may not be fair. You may have grown up in a home where you were abused or neglected or abandoned, and I am so sorry that it happened to you. I really am. I empathize with you. But if you're going to have a healthy relationship, you have to work through it. You have to be consistent. You have to work on it. But I promise you, the results are worth it because you will feel so much more empowered. You will feel so much better about yourself when you do the work. Get into therapy, educate yourself, read books, do the creative healing course or my workbooks, 30 minutes a day. It makes a major change. After a week, 2 weeks, a month, a few months, when you're consistent, you're going to feel like a different person. And that is why I love what I do. Because it's not just some corny get your ex back strategy. I'm trying to help you change your life. Whether your ex comes back and you have a much better, healthier relationship with them, or you are truly secure and confident, and when you get out into the dating world, you know how to choose better and you know how to be a more emotionally attuned partner, and you're going to be a lot more selective because of the confidence you now feel. So, I've got an email coaching today that I thought would be a good one to share. This is from a guy in his early 30s who was dating a woman in her late 20s. Now, one of the big problems from the get-go is that she started dating him shortly after she had ended an engagement. Now, I don't know the details of that situation, but probably a relationship that had been going on for a while, and now instead of taking some time to heal, learn, grow, reflect on that relationship to get to a better place, she jumps into a new relationship with him because she probably didn't want to deal with the pain or the fear of being alone. People don't like to be alone. That is why they often jump into rebound relationships. The fantasy and the excitement of something new. Then it falls apart and they are faced with the reality of now they have 2 failed relationships. And hopefully it's something where they say, maybe I'm doing something. Maybe I'm part of this somehow. Not just blaming. Because some people that are emotionally immature just constantly blame other people and don't take responsibility for themselves. So he says, our connection was immediate, marked by deep conversations, vulnerability, and emotional and physical intimacy. She was very invested from the start. Now, do you think it's healthy for her to be this emotionally invested in someone she doesn't really know when she's just coming out of an engagement? Probably not. She should probably be saying, I really like where this is going and I feel a strong connection, but we really have to take this slow because I'm just coming out of something really significant. I mean, she was planning on marrying someone. Now I know it was a classic anxious avoidant dynamic. Her being anxious. I was in therapy, and she began hers. Now this is great. They're both in therapy. They're both taking a look at things. I don't know if they had a clinician that learned or knew about attachment theory. It's relatively new in the psychology field. They weren't really even talking about it when I was in grad school, but because of social media and our channel putting out almost 2,000 videos at this point, things get out there. More clinicians have been talking about things on different platforms, so people are starting to really see things, and hopefully you get a good therapist that understands this stuff. After a year, I broke up with her, overwhelmed by her reliance on me for emotional regulation. And emotional regulation is one of the best things you can do for yourself. This is why in the Creative Healing course, we have all those audio affirmations, and all the videos are really to help you start to do that for yourself, to internalize those things. One of the things that you've heard me talk about over the years is that when my son and my daughter were very small, and I still do this to this day, but particularly those first 2 to 3 years of life, whenever they're upset or crying, I used to say, "You're okay, it's okay, you're okay," and tried to soothe them over and over again. So they would internalize my voice and internalize the ability to soothe themselves. Because when you teach a child, a baby, to do that, they will learn to become the most confident adults you will ever see. Some people will say, "You're spoiling that child. Don't do that. Don't spoil them." You could not be further from the truth. Those are the parents that often wind up with avoidant children because they aren't being emotionally attuned to them. My daughter is 6 years old and probably the most confident person I've ever known. She talks to anyone, everywhere we go, very friendly, like she's known them her whole life. She has no fear of talking to anybody. It doesn't matter if they're old, they're young, if they're mentally handicapped, if they're physically handicapped. She doesn't see anybody any different than somebody that is friendly and easy to talk to, and she just makes friends everywhere. It's incredible to see, and I love seeing how confident she is, and it's because I helped instill in her the ability to understand that it's okay and that you can handle yourself and that you can get to know people and you can handle yourself. And she's in karate, so no one's going to mess with her when she gets older either. But when you become an adult who can regulate your own emotions and soothe your anxiety, you become so confident. And it completely changes your romantic relationships. He says, "I see now that I contributed to her anxiety. A few weeks later, I regretted the breakup, and we reconciled, but the dynamic had shifted. She seemed distant and expanded her social circle. Attempts to address this didn't help." So now it's like the bubble was burst. When he broke up with her, now she felt like a different person. She probably didn't feel as safe anymore. She probably thought, well, I'll try and fix this, but now that I know he could leave me, I'm going to start to look for other people or somebody that might be safer than him. Towards the end of summer, she ended things over the phone, describing herself as emotionally drained and saying, "We triggered each other from the start." Okay, so now that he broke up with her, it had a big impact on the connection. And now she's able to articulate things a little bit better because she's not so afraid of losing him. She probably lost some attraction to him and probably started to use other people for emotional support. So it was easier for her to let go and kind of, hey, this isn't working for me. But now, I'm sure he's going to get triggered by anxiety because all of a sudden he's going to feel abandoned. She accused me of making her feel I'd abandon her if her chronic illness worsened. It hurt. Now, there seems to be some research between illness and mental health and anxiety. I really think there's a strong correlation there, and probably the trauma that she had in her childhood is correlated with her chronic illness and getting worse. About a month and a half later, I asked her to collect her belongings. The exchange turned tense after I expressed my feelings. I behaved badly. Okay, so this is pretty vague, but it doesn't sound good. Okay, sounds like he was anxious and maybe lost emotional self-control. Hard to say. She mentioned she was dating someone and blocked me on social media that day, unblocking me a few weeks later after a chance encounter. Okay, so like I mentioned up front, anxious people are afraid to be alone, so she started to see somebody new, probably because she didn't want to be alone. Remember, this is only like 6 weeks after their relationship, and remember, she also jumped into a relationship with him after her engagement. So it sounds like a pattern here. She should be spending some time alone and looking at how she is showing up in this relationship. A few months of no contact followed until she requested photos from a past trip. Could be an excuse, but it's valid enough. Our brief exchange ended naturally. Days later, she asked for no further contact. So, did you reach out? Probably. Doesn't sound like you stuck to no contact after that exchange, because why would she reach out to you just to say, hey, let's stay in no contact? Doesn't seem like that's what happened. Around Christmas, she deleted our anniversary event from Google Calendar, and it sent me a notification. It may not have been intentional. She probably just deleted it. She probably didn't think that he was going to get the notification. In the middle of January, we unexpectedly met at our local swimming pool. Uh-oh. Let's see what happens here. I waited for her for an hour and profusely apologized for past behaviors. She cried and revealed that her rebound had ended the day before, leaving her feeling used. No surprise there. Guys, just because you value your ex does not mean the new person will. I know you have a high value for them, but it doesn't mean they will. And it's hard to see that because you think that because you care about them so much that everybody will. But that is not the case. And many dumpers that jump into a rebound relationship find that out the hard way. As a matter of fact, I was just talking to somebody about that this morning. Broke up with her ex of several years, got into a rebound, and the rebound described himself as a psychopath. His words. Okay? So now she learned the hard way. Though shocked, I stayed composed. I told her my feelings for her didn't change. She proposed grabbing a beer together and then another. The evening unfolded naturally, lasting nearly 4 hours. Okay, so that's a little long. Okay, we got alcohol in the picture, 4 hours together. It's probably a little bit too long, and it's probably going to get bad. Because when we're with our ex that long for the first time, we naturally can't keep it in for too long. We discussed life, family, and personal growth. Uh-oh. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think he's going to say I've changed? No. Don't say it. Don't say it. When you tell your ex you've changed, it often blows up in your face. I shared my therapy progress, including joint support group and writing poetry. This is not going to be good. Anytime you hear poetry and trying to get ex back, it's not going to go well. Oh, man. He's getting uncentered here. He's going to be trying to accommodate her and please her. You get into that pleaser mode, approval-seeking mode. It's not going to get her back. She read one of my poems twice, which seemed to resonate. We touched on values, relationships, and her future goals, including starting a family in the future. Apart from heavy topics, the majority of the evening felt natural, spontaneous, and we were goofing around even with visible tension. Well, that's the good stuff, not the poetry. I've got a poem for you. It goes a little something like this. If you read them poetry, you will say goodbye to thee. Remember that next time you want to read your ex a poem. At one point, she spoke about her rebound and cried. She called him undeserving of her tears. Now, talk about brutal. You're meeting up with your ex and you're desperately wanting to tell her how you've changed, how you've grown. I'm in therapy and I miss you and I will do anything to be with you. And you want a family and I want a family. Let's have a family together. And then she's crying about her rebound in front of you. That would be tough. She told me she didn't cheat on me. I offered silent support. Oh, great. So now you're going to wind up being her therapist. She later showed excitement about her new apartment and even reminisced about our good times. Despite the connection, she remained guarded, keeping physical distance. It feels like mixed signals. On the train back, she sobbed. Well, you want to watch her sob over her rebound? That would be really annoying. Overwhelmed. I respected her need for space, offering silent reassurance instead of physical comfort. Before parting, I told her it was good to see her and that she could reach out if she ever wanted to talk. After a few days, she unblocked me on social media, but our profiles are private. She didn't reach out, and neither did I. I am unblocked everywhere, but we don't follow each other. She may shrug the meeting off and not reflect on it at all as she heals from the rebound. Maybe she considers the meeting as a closure. I don't know if her boundary of no contact still stands. Okay, well, she said she wanted to stay in no contact, so don't reach out. That's pretty clear. It's the last message she sent me. I think that I might have shown too much vulnerability. Yes. And caused the power dynamic between us to be irreparably skewed. Well, maybe not irreparably. Well, I wouldn't say necessarily that it's going to stay that way, but in the present, yes, that's the way I would treat this. Like I'm not reaching out, and that if she wants to fix it, it's on her. You don't want to swoop in and try and save this woman because she is still mourning the loss of a rebound. How awful is that you're now comforting her while she's talking to you about her rebound? No, I would not recommend that. I would leave her alone, let her get over the rebound, and let her reach out to you when she's ready. And when she does, focus on having fun with her. Don't read her poetry, okay? Don't tell her about all the growth and the changes you've made. It typically makes things worse, as you saw here. He thinks he's getting some traction and it's going well. And then what does she tell him? I want to stay in no contact. Okay? You see that? Feels one way, it's confusing, but look at the results. So if you want to get results that work, leave her alone, let her miss you, let her reach out, and then take things very slow. You're getting a better understanding of the anxious avoidant trap. Please stay committed to the personal growth. The Creative Healing course especially will help you in a situation like this because you're going to have a lot of challenges to navigate with her. She's very sensitive and you need to be really understanding of those things so you don't trigger her. Now, of course, it's not all on you to fix this, but if you can make some changes here, I think it would be a lot more likely to turn around and be healthier in the long run. Okay, so hopefully this one's been helpful to you. Of course, if you want to get our help personally, you can do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. You can get my Creative Healing course and my workbooks only on my website. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon.